Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn is a psychological thriller that examines the dark complexities of marriage, media manipulation, and human behavior. The novel centers around the relationship between Nick and Amy Dunn, whose seemingly perfect life begins to unravel after Amy's sudden disappearance. The story is told from alternating points of view, with Nick's perspective providing a present-day account of the events surrounding Amy's disappearance, and Amy's voice coming through in diary entries that reflect her past experiences and inner thoughts. This dual narrative structure allows readers to see two sides of the same story and gradually discover the dark truths hidden beneath the surface. The novel begins on Nick and Amy's 5th wedding anniversary. Nick returns home to find his wife missing, with signs of a struggle suggesting she has been abducted. As the investigation begins, Nick presents himself as a distraught and concerned husband, but his behavior raises suspicions. He is calm, almost detached, and seems unusually composed for someone whose wife has gone missing. As the police dig deeper into the couple's lives, it becomes evident that their marriage, which once appeared ideal, is far from perfect. Nick is questioned about his marriage and his possible involvement in Amy's disappearance. His affair with a younger woman named Andy becomes public, and he is further scrutinized for his emotional distance and lack of grief. Amy's perspective, however, provides a more complex view of their relationship. Through her diary entries, Amy recounts her love for Nick at the beginning of their marriage, describing how they met and fell in love. However, over time, her writings reveal growing dissatisfaction. Amy becomes increasingly disillusioned with Nick, particularly after they are forced to move back to Missouri due to Nick's father's illness. In the unfamiliar town, Amy feels isolated and frustrated, and her marriage to Nick begins to deteriorate. She writes about how Nick has changed, becoming more distant, aloof, and seemingly uninterested in her. Amy's entry reveals that she has become suspicious of Nick, thinking that he may be cheating on her. This sense of unease deepens as she perceives their relationship slipping away, and her journal entries become increasingly filled with frustration, bitterness, and a sense of impending doom. The plot takes a dramatic turn when it is revealed that Amy has staged her own disappearance. Through her journal, the reader learns that she meticulously planned her abduction to make it appear as though Nick was responsible for her death. Amy had grown resentful of Nick's betrayal and his failure to live up to her idealized image of their marriage. Her plan is elaborate and cruel. She plants evidence, arranges a fake scene of violence in their home, and leaves behind a trail of clues that would inevitably point to Nick as her killer. Her motive is not just to punish Nick for his infidelity, but also to regain control over her life. She feels neglected and trapped by her marriage, and staging her death allows her to manipulate the situation and turn it in her favor. As the investigation continues, Nick becomes the prime suspect. The evidence against him seems damning, and his past indiscretions only make him look guiltier in the eyes of the public. The media frenzy surrounding Amy's disappearance intensifies, with the press portraying Nick as the cold, calculating husband who may have murdered his wife. Nick, however, begins to unravel the truth behind Amy's disappearance. He discovers the details of her elaborate plan and realizes that she has orchestrated the entire situation. Amy is not dead. She has been hiding in a remote cabin, watching the investigation unfold from afar and manipulating the narrative of her disappearance. Amy's story becomes even more twisted when she reveals that she had secretly inseminated herself with Nick's sperm while he was unaware. She is now pregnant, claiming that her pregnancy is a result of her time in captivity. This revelation shocks Nick, who is faced with the reality that Amy's return will bring about a series of complex decisions. Amy returns to the public eye with a fabricated story that she was kidnapped and held captive by her abductor. The media embraces her as the victim of a horrific crime, and public sentiment quickly shifts in her favor. Amy plays the role of the perfect victim, using her intelligence and charm to manipulate the police, the press, and the public. Meanwhile, Nick is left to navigate the fallout from her return, knowing that he is now trapped in a marriage with a woman who has the power to destroy him. Despite his initial desire to escape from the toxic relationship, Nick finds himself unable to leave Amy. The dynamic between them shifts as Amy reveals that she is not done controlling their lives. Her meticulous manipulation continues as she uses her pregnancy and the media's adoration of her to bind Nick to her for the foreseeable future. In the twisted conclusion of the novel, it becomes clear that Amy has won. She has manipulated Nick into staying with her by presenting herself as the perfect wife, one who has overcome a traumatic ordeal and is now ready to rebuild her life. Nick, although repelled by her, realizes that he cannot leave her, as doing so would mean losing everything, including the public's perception of him as the loving husband. The novel ends with Nick and Amy remaining together, locked in a perverse marriage where both are complicit in maintaining a facade for the sake of appearances. Nick is resigned to his fate, accepting that he has no choice but to play along with Amy's manipulations in order to protect himself and his future. The final scene suggests that, despite the toxic and abusive nature of their relationship, the two are bound together by their shared need for control and manipulation. Gone Girl is not just a suspenseful thriller, but also a commentary on the darker aspects of human nature and relationships. The novel explores themes of deception, power, and control, showing how people can manipulate each other for their own benefit. It also critiques the role of the media in shaping public perception and how easily the truth can be distorted in the pursuit of sensationalism. The unreliable narrators, Nick and Amy, force readers to question what is true and what is fabricated, making the novel a commentary on the complexities of identity and the lies people tell to protect themselves. In its exploration of marriage, Gone Girl delves into the psychological aspects of relationships, showing how individuals can become trapped in cycles of manipulation and deceit. Amy, in particular, is a fascinating character whose intelligence and cunning make her both a sympathetic victim and a dangerous manipulator. Her need for control and her ability to craft elaborate lies make her a powerful and unsettling character. Nick, on the other hand, is more passive, reacting to the events around him rather than actively shaping his own fate. His flaws and insecurities, combined with his inability to escape his toxic marriage, make him a tragic figure in the novel. The novel's critique of modern relationships and the media's influence on public perception is sharp and incisive. Flynn uses the story of Nick and Amy to question the nature of truth, identity, and love. In the end, Gone Girl is a chilling exploration of how far people will go to maintain control and how easily the line between victim and villain can be blurred.